So this video is overdue. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while now, but I want to take the time to discuss Halloween the game before its release. My intuitions, opinions, similarities, and differences on this game, and why it will ultimately be the reason it succeeds or fails. First, I want to start with the similarities that these two games share. Everything within these two games that looks very familiar. First, there's the pocket knife. Now, where did that come from? Friday the 13th? Along with the fact that after being caught in the grab animation can be used in that situation. The only difference is that Jason is struck in the shoulder, while Michael is stabbed in the eye with a pocket knife, which makes it a little better. But is there any other ideas they could use? But that's just the beginning. The fact that they have firecrackers just like Friday the 13th is no coincidence. Now here I believe they could have implemented something different. The stun reaction to the kill is even the same. Like, I don't ever recall Michael Myers being stunned by firecrackers. Like, come on now, let's be real, bro. They could have used something different like a taser or something. Now it sounds like I'm reaching here, but all the other items in the game like the car keys, hatchet, gas can, all these items are for Friday the 13th. Like I was saying, they could implement something different. Why must you have to put gas in a vehicle in both games, making them very similar to each other? I would not be surprised if the car battery was part of the game. I just hope they make it to where you can use gas in various situations. As far as the hatchet goes, well, that's just another weapon. What do you expect people to have? Well, they should be able to use kitchen knives, but that only goes so far against Michael. At the same time, there are a variety of items that can be used as weapons. And no lie, the car keys is definitely reaching because you need car keys in order to operate a vehicle. There's no way around it. But this is just me saying this game is basically just a reskin of Friday the 13th. And that's my biggest worry for this game. Because if players did not enjoy Friday the 13th, then what would this game have to offer that's different? Now, I enjoyed Friday the 13th. I was good at it. Had the right perks for a build. I used to kill Jason whenever I wanted to. Or I would just survive the whole 20 minutes of the match with them chasing me. But Halloween should be made a whole different ball game. I just don't want the same thing that happened to Texas Chainsaw Massacre happen to this game. Moving on, let's take a look at Michael's shape jump ability. Now, what does this remind you of? That's right, Jason's shift ability. The fact that the radio used to call Tommy Jarvis is in Halloween the game.
Anyone out there, you have to come to Camp Crystal Lake. Bring a gun. Oh, God, he's killing us. Jason's alive.
Then there's the phone to call the police.
Is this the police? Help! Jason's here! Jason's here! He's killing everyone! Please, please help! Hurry!
Copy on neurotherapy.
The fall and recovery animations for the killers are the same.
You like that, asshole? Ah! No!
Come on, boys.
Please, no!
Come on.
Then of course you could crouch as you did in Friday the 13th. One thing I would say is they did a good ass job on Dr. Loomis. Unlike Tommy Jarvis, cause he looks like shit. But to be fair, that's what comes with next gen graphics. The graphics are more enhanced for Halloween because it's Series X and PS5 versus Xbox One and PS4, so of course the graphics should be better than Friday the 13th. To be honest, I'm glad they waited to make a Halloween game because I'm a real fan of the Michael Myers franchise. But at the same time, it's about damn time. I've been hoping to make a Michael Myers game for a long time. I want to see this game do well. I am not a hater. Real talk for those who feel like I'm downplaying for pointing out the similarities between these two games. It's just the mechanics we've seen so far are the same, if not identical. Now let's talk about the differences between the two that could play a positive role for this game's success. Unlike Friday the 13th, it appears you can carry bodies, meaning you can hide their corpses. Something different that we have not gotten yet in the asymmetrical horror game. Another difference that stands out is that you could push Michael off survivors, knocking him out of the grab animation. Now with the weapon, it's clear to me that our hands can be used as a weapon as it should. That's giving that Halloween feel because in the movies, we've seen Michael being kicked and punched before. Now this shit here needs to be explained. To the best of my knowledge, it looks like you can use other survivors as recruits. Again, something different from Friday the 13th. Taking another look at Michael's shape jump ability, the difference between that and Jason's shift ability is that you can slip between doors and windows. You can also float in one spot, giving you the option to pop up whenever you want. The only thing we can't compare so far is the cooldown. It looks like it's handled better smoothly as well compared to Jason's ability. Another difference, we are able to grab items off trunks and hide in dumpsters. A new mechanic that is different from Friday the 13th. The fact that we can not only shut the power off from the outside, but cut lights off from the inside is also something new that comes with this game. And with Dr. Loomis, I'm glad they actually gave Dr. Loomis what he was supposed to have. His weapon. And you're not just getting one bullet out of it like they did for Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th. Something so small as being able to smoke in this game tells me it has to be more to this game than what they're showing. Now here it looks like you can have throwable weapons. Not just for Killer, but Survivor as well. Something else we haven't gotten in Friday the 13th. You can even ride bikes in this game. Well, until Michael snatches you off of it. You can give weapons to other survivors through windows, that's dope. And back to the gas can goes to show it can be used as a weapon after all. And most of all, the biggest thing that's different from Friday the 13th is there is a campaign mode. That makes it even more complete.
There's so much evil inside him.
Okay, back inside, everyone.
Let's go, Myers. Fueled by his rage, I shudder to think what he might be capable of.
Since when do they let them wander around?
Myers is out. Secure the gate.
I knew what would come next.
It's wild that you get to play as Michael without the mask. For the devs to make it to where you escape and get your costume is pretty sick. And this involves the biggest thing to stand out, because Friday the 13th doesn't have a campaign mode. And this is why this game should succeed where Friday the 13th didn't. It looks smooth, the graphics are updated, it's giving off that Halloween feel, and it looks like its focus is from the original. I'm actually kinda hyped for this release, but at the same time I'm nervous, because of what happened with Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The campaign should be fun and give everything it has to offer, but that can only go so far. Nobody's going to run the campaign over and over and over again, and that's why we have multiplayer. But that's where I worry for this game. From all the stuff I mentioned early on, it's like they took Friday the 13th, reskinned the game, but added more to it and said, here's your Halloween game. Now with all these other new mechanics, that's cool and all, but what I want to focus on is will there be balance for multiplayer? Because I'm telling you now, if it's not, and these mechanics make survivors extra sweaty, it's not going to be fun to play Killer. It's just not. We've seen it before in Friday the 13th, we've seen it before in Dead by Daylight. It's going to be exactly the same as Friday the 13th. Survivors are going to exploit. There are going to be some techs, maybe even glitches. And those are one of the first things exploited, and after a while it gets boring. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that's not the case, but that's just what we see so far. But we won't know until the game drops. There are some things about this game I still haven't mentioned, but that's all content built inside this game. The key thing I'm hoping for is balance. Now compared to Jason, Michael's supposed to have multiple abilities, but I don't know how true that is. Maybe NPCs online will help Michael as far as balance goes. Unless survivors are just that sweaty, making it to where you can't raise your abilities as Michael. Because that's what it said that may be the case for Michael and his abilities. There's no doubt in my mind that if it's sweaty, that's how it would be. From different maps, to different jukes, to different glitches. All we need is the right perks to accompany these exploits, and yeah, just like that, it will ruin the game. Especially if you want to just focus on bullying the killer. I'm not going to pretend that I did not do that in Friday the 13th, because I was one of those players that made my goal either killing Jason or surviving the whole 20 minutes of the match, because escaping just got boring. I felt I was good enough to do it, thought it was fun, so that's what I did, and after a while I went back to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Like, look what I'm doing now, I'm giving this killer a run for his money. But this is what you have to do against the killer. Somebody has to install the killer until the generators are complete. Now I've been on and off from this game myself, and I'm still not the best because I was more of a Friday the 13th main than Dead by Daylight, but overall I feel Halloween would be nothing compared to Dead by Daylight. All Dead by Daylight is doing is giving you more of a challenge for a horror game with the same killers from all the other asymmetrical horror games. If anything, that's getting you prepared for games like Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Halloween. But Dead by Daylight is not even comparable to those games. Back to the campaign. I hope they make it to where we can have a survivor side and killer side campaign. Not just running the whole story mode as killer the entire time. We want more of a challenge in story mode, as killer is not much of a challenge chasing bots. As far as multiplayer goes, I can see that bike being a problem already. Screw what the gameplay look like. Anybody online can avoid Michael from catching them on that bike, unless you're going up against a sweaty Michael Myers. But if players run matches in groups, I can already see how this is going to be. From every item in the game, use to display various ways to use items, or create some type of playstyle with these mechanics that accommodate some sort of tech. Next thing you know, everybody will be abusing it, making it not fun to play after a while. Because the shit gets old. I can see killers rage quitting, I can see players leaving because of it. This is all speculation. We don't know what is going to come of this game, but judging from previous horror games, that's what we've seen. But Michael's supposed to have a bunch of abilities, and I believe we only seen 2 of them, which is shape-shifting and stalk ability. If I turn out to be right about the survivor side, I just hope that the rest of his abilities can create some sort of balance to where survivors can be countered. The only thing we've seen compared to Dead by Daylight is the fact that flashlight can be used to blind the killer. But with never before seen mechanics in this horror game, this should make things interesting. But I can see the flashlight becoming an issue unless they add a usage gauge. Survivors already have pocket knives, throwable weapons, firecrackers, and more. The only thing is, what are we going to have to make Michael unique? We know that he can't be killed, it takes more to stun him. The only thing you can do is detain him, or escape. So the only question is, what is going to make him compete with survivors? Are they going to make him reach a sort of rage mode like Jason? Or add some type of Curse of Thorn ability? Because that's what Michael runs off of. He is an evil entity on Halloween night. That's his curse. That's what gives him his power. We've seen this in Halloween Curse of Michael Myers. So it's only right that if they were going to do something like that, that's what his special ability could potentially be. We already have Shapeshift, which explains how Michael pops up and out of nowhere in every sequel he does that shit. So my theories would be based on what he does on film. And that would be based off the original because according to the trailer, that's their focus. So I believe if they're giving all these survivors different mechanics, they have to be giving Michael a lot more abilities that can evolve tech. But I'm just hoping it revolves around balance for both sides. Not just, oh, survivor is OP or killer is OP. If it's unbalanced, they're going to need to have maintenance or updates to this game. Because if they don't, like I said, this game is bound to fail. And that's not what we want. We want a smooth, stable, balanced, asymmetrical horror game. They should learn from Friday the 13th. And I'm not just talking about the whole license copyright issue, but they most importantly should learn from what happened to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because one day I played that game, turned around a couple months later, the game was dead. So they should have been focused on that aspect. What content could potentially destroy the game? If they tested every piece of content added to it, check for any bugs that could create an issue, and what is too OP and not too OP. I'm not saying that, oh, it's bad that you're adding all this stuff in the game. No, I like the fact they have a variety of things you can do. Just build the killer the same way, but in his own unique way. A way of what defines him as Michael Myers. Don't half-ass it, because that's what I can see them doing. No horror game has been perfect. Every one of them has their flaws. Either something can potentially be wrong on the survivor side, or something can be potentially wrong on the killer side. We've seen this happen too many times, and it's always been a balance issue for the most part. We're already able to hide in dumpsters as survivors, so we should be able to hide in closets and under beds. But with all these extra mechanics survivors have in the game, how do we know for sure there's going to be balance? They've shown a lot more for survivors than they did for the killer. That's where I'm concerned, because if they half-ass Michael and give him trash mechanics, or just abilities that's not worth using, then people are going to want their money back. And what does that lead to? Failure. The fact that a lot of shit in this game that's comparable to Friday the 13th is enough. But also the fact they added more content makes it not as bad. Now that's the way Friday the 13th should have been made. Now it looks amazing, but you can't go by how it looks. If it was just story mode, then yeah. But online is a whole nother field, and we want to keep this game alive. We want to receive more content. We want the sales to skyrocket for this. I'm not going to ask people to buy the game, but if this is going to work, it's going to have to get people's attention. And adding the same shit Friday the 13th to have along with its mechanics is not the way to go. We want it to be a type of horror game that's incomparable. The story needs to be packed with unpredictable jump scares, with both roles for the story, and a good ass story. The way it's starting off looks nice, but if it's just us running Michael's story and that's it, then story mode isn't going to be as fun. We want the option to play killer or survivor, not just stuck one-sided. With all this information, I can see where this game could fail. At the same time, there are certain reasons why this game can succeed. Like I said, I do not want it to die out. I will be playing this game when it comes out. I have already pre-ordered it. Now I do believe this game will be fun starting out. I don't think it would be terrible. I will see what improvements they could make or could have made, and hopefully it will reach the devs. I know I'm just a small channel at this point, but I have to take a chance, man. So I guess we'll see what's to it. But that wraps up my discussion for this game. Will you guys be trying this out for yourselves? Or do you guys think this game is just not worth buying? You can leave your thoughts in the comments. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you want to watch me live when this game drops, stay tuned. And yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next.